Good morning. So we're going to do some Punnet Squares in the holiday theme. We're going to use some elves. It says Papa Elf and Mama Elf are expanding their family. Help them predict what their baby elf will look like by using Punnet Squares to look at their inherited traits. Use the descriptions below to complete your Punnet Squares. So let's look at Papa Elf. And we see that he has brown eyes, a long nose, and round ears. All of these would be considered the phenotype. That's what it actually or physically looks like. He genetically has a heterozygous trait for eyes, a dominant and a recessive. He has a heterozygous trait for a long nose, dominant and recessive, and he has a homozygous trait, homozygous recessive, for ears. All of this is the genotype, what the actual genes are. Okay? Mama Elf is blue-eyed with a short nose and pointy ears. And so she has 2 recessive traits for blue eyes. She has 2 recessive traits for a short nose. And then she has 2 dominant traits for pointy ears. Now, it really doesn't matter if you put the mom or the dad at the side of the square or the top of the square. I've just always done ladies first, and so I've always done the mom across the top. So I'm going to take this first Punnet square for eyes, and I'm going to take mom's genotype, little b, and I'm going to put it across the top. And then I'm going to take dad's genotype, uppercase B, lowercase b, and I'm going to put it on the side. My line didn't quite come through there, so I'll add that. All right, so now it's just a matter of taking 1 trait from dad and 1 trait from mom and 1 from dad and 1 from mom. Down here, 1 from dad, 1 from mom, 1 from mom, or 1 from dad. Now, I want to do a little bit more on this using my vocabulary. So I'm going to ask, this offspring, would it have brown eyes or blue eyes? It has a dominant trait for brown, and that's going to override the recessive. So this would be brown eyes, little elf. This one would also be a brown-eyed elf. Now, when I get down here, this offspring has 2 recessive traits. So if there's no dominant trait in the mix, then the blue eyes are going to be able to show. And so we're going to have a blue-eyed elf for this offspring and for this offspring. Now, a little more with vocabulary. Let's try to describe the genotype as either heterozygous or homozygous. So this elf, baby elf, would have which label? Heterozygous or homozygous? Are these letters the same or are they different? So this is capital, this is lowercase. That's different. And so this would be heterozygous. Zygous for the zygote, right? Heterozygous. This would also be heterozygous. Hetero means different. Zygous stands for the zygote, or the one cell that's produced when the sperm and egg unite. These, heterozygous or homozygous? Are they the same? Are they different? They are the same. So this would be homozygous. Now, if it is homozygous, you could ask yourself, is it homozygous dominant, both capitals, or is it homozygous recessive, both lowercase? Here, it is recessive, so it's homozygous recessive. All right, and we're going to do the same thing for this one. They are the same, so it is homozygous, and it is lowercase, so it is recessive. Now, percentage-wise, how many of these 4 offspring had brown eyes? Well, we have 1, 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2 out of 4, and if we did that as a percentage, it would be 50%. How many were blue? 1, 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, and so that would also be 50%. Now, I want you to take the long-nosed Papa Elf and the short-nosed Mama Elf, and I want you to complete the Punnet Square. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, so you should have completed your Punnet Square. Let's check and see how you did. Okay, if you didn't get those, go ahead and make changes. Now I want you to fill in the phenotype. Is this particular elf going to have a long nose or a short nose? And I want you to do that for each of these. And then I want you to go back and I want you to decide, is this genotype heterozygous or homozygous? Is this genotype heterozygous or homozygous? And then if they are homozygous, I want you to decide, is it dominant or is it recessive? Stop the video and do that now. Okay, so you should have the phenotype, whether it's going to be a long nose or a short nose, filled in. You should also have made the decision, is this genotype heterozygous or homozygous? And if it was homozygous, you need to decide, is it homozygous dominant, 2 capital letters, or is it homozygous recessive, 2 lowercase letters? If you haven't already done that, please do that so then we can check it. Okay, here comes the reveal. So hopefully you check yours and see how you did. Now we need to do the percentages. How many were long and how many were short, and do your numbers. So again, we get the 2 out of 4 for each, and they're both 50%. Now, it won't always be that way, just our 2 examples so far have been. I want you to do the last one all by yourself, starting with mom's genotype, and then dad's genotype, and then the combinations, what they're going to look like. Are they going to have pointy ears? Are they going to have round ears? And then follow through with, is it heterozygous or is it homozygous? If it's homozygous, is it dominant or recessive? And then finally, what is the percentage? So go ahead and finish that. And then I want you to take a picture and upload it. Okay, so this is an extension of our ELF genetics. So it's a totally different activity, but I kind of wanted you to get the idea. So you may or may not have realized that